Hi, it's Dennis Daly. Back in 1996, I was invited by the Pillsbury people to cover the Pillsbury Bake-Off. That time around, it was at the Fairmont Hotel in Dallas, Texas. 100 contestants, all using identical Sears ranges, stoves, and appliances, cooking up what they thought might win them $1 million. We are in one of the ballrooms at the Fairmont Hotel in downtown Dallas, and this room is absolutely full of people and microwave ovens and regular stoves and refrigerators and camera crews and people such as myself. But the most important people who are here are the 100 finalists in this year's Pillsbury Bake-Off. We're going to talk to a few of them as we walk down the aisle. David LeBird is from Atlanta, Georgia, and he is no stranger to cooking. David, I walked in here to the biggest assemblage of stoves I think I've ever seen in my life. First of all, tell us a little bit about how, since this is radio and people can't see it, how it's set up so everybody's on an equal footing.
Well, as far as the stove setups are, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of stove and workstation setups throughout the whole ballroom here at the Fairmont Hotel. And you have people just all over here just cooking all sorts of great things. I've got a lady over here cooking a corn and bean salad, and a lady to my right cooking a Reuben casserole, and a lady over here someone over here cooking cookies. And
needless to say, it smells wonderful in here.
It smells wonderful. It's got a lot of activity going on. I mean, this is really a very exciting event for me. It's for anybody involved in here.
You know, one of the things I noticed, Kenmore has supplied all the stoves. I guess maybe I've lived in an old house for a long time. I've never seen a range that looks this space age before. It's got all kinds of readouts and everything. This is really high tech.
I'll tell you, Kenmore has really done a fantastic job with their ovens. I mean, I have an old oven at home, and when I came down here to the Bake-Off, I had to stop by the Sears with little meetings with the Sears people just to show me how this oven works. But it's great, you know. It sets your own heat for the oven is set. You just push a button, and it tells you when it gets to the temperature that you want. And then right next to it, you have a timer, and it just counts down from the time that you started. So it's really a beautiful piece of equipment.
I think the other thing is I'm not used to seeing ranges that are so clean.
Yeah, this is true.
We're wandering around one of the ballrooms of the Fairmont Hotel in Dallas, talking to some of the contestants of this year's Pillsbury Bake-Off, and we continue our conversation with David LeBird. I asked him how he first got interested in the competition.
Well, I'm actually from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm actually a flight attendant. And
you can tell us for whom?
For U.S. Air. And basically, it was a process of me getting involved with this. I mean, years ago, I saw a road show down at the World Congress Center in Atlanta, and it had the winning recipe at that time for the Pillsbury Bake-Off, and it was cake, little basic cake. And I thought, well, gee, you know, I could do that. But then they told me that this lady won $50,000 doing this thing,
baking a little cake.
A little cake, okay. So I left that thing. I mean, out of all the exhibits, different millions of exhibitors that I've saw there, I've left that show. And all I could think of is $50,000 for baking that. I mean, I can do that. I mean, I forgot about it for a few years. And then last year, I got a little notice in the mail that they were doing another road show, which I didn't attend, but I got the advertisement. And once I got that, it said this time around it was $1 million. So I figured, well, look, I had to enter this one, and I did the very last day. I entered the very last day, and I was very fortunate enough that Pillsbury chose my recipe.
Well, David, good luck.
Okay, thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
Okay.
Karen Studeville is from Parsons, Kansas, and I know from having ridden on the bus with Karen and her husband and children, you have quite a brood you've taken here, plus you're related in some way to one of the other contestants, aren't you?
Yes, my father.
Your father. Now, which of you got involved first?
Me.
That's good.
I did.
What's it like here? I think the great fun is meeting people from all over the country.
That is part of the great fun of it. And just, getting wined and dined for 4 days and being treated like a celebrity. You've got people like you coming up to a nobody like me, and talking to you and, soliciting your comments, advice, etc.
Now tell us about what you're fixing.
Chocolate fudge pecan tart. It's almost like fudge.
I guess the prerequisite to this is obviously it has to be an original recipe.
Right. And the idea came from very small, what is called tassie tarts, little chocolate tassie tarts, and that's the idea. But you've seen and met my children.
Yes.
Having no time to make little tarts, I decided to make one large tart.
Your children are how old? And one of them is very active.
4 years old and 15 months old. And the 15-month-old is who you are speaking about, right?
Absolutely, yes.
That's what I
just wonder, really, when you have any time to cook at home.
All the time. They're always going, Mommy, I'm hungry. And they help me by getting in the way, pulling out the pots and pans, and I go, oh, yeah, that's the one I needed.
Now, I guess it's no secret. Last night we were sitting around a restaurant talking, and you were not the only person who mentioned there that you like cooking so much you wouldn't mind having your own restaurant.
That's right. I wouldn't. I would not mind having my own restaurant.
Think you could put up with the with people walking in? This is too cold.
Oh, sure I can.
You seem like the kind of person easygoing enough to do that.
Yeah, because it's simple as this. Actually, it's not too cold. That's the way it's supposed to be served.
I see. Well, Karen, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. We're at stove number 92, and Thelma Zimmerman is here, and I don't know why. Thelma, why did you put 14 extra letters in Zimmerman? It's
My husband did that.
Your husband did that. Now, I understand you are a previous winner.
Yes, I am.
Can you tell us about your first experience here?
I went to the Pillsbury Busy Lady Bake-Off in 1966. We were in San Francisco. I made a cake using the then new refrigerated frosting and put some of it in the cake and some of it on the cake, and it was called a come on over cake.
I know from talking to you before we went on the air that at that particular competition there was a rumor going around that someone had a very unique recipe.
That's right. Everyone was talking about who has the recipe that uses only 2 ingredients. And we found out that it was a man, and he was ill before the bake-off and couldn't come, so Pillsbury gave him a special prize. But the recipe with 2 ingredients was for muffins, and it was Pillsbury self-rising flour and ice cream stirred together, put it in a muffin tin, and that was it.
Well, now you're making apricot, or as some people would say, apricot pecan Hungry Jack biscuit pull-aparts.
Right.
And boy, that's pretty. Is it good enough to eat?
I hope. You want to try it?
Why don't you talk while I try some?
Oh, I don't know how to talk.
Interview me. No, let me try a little bit of it. Can I stay here forever?
It's all right with me. I had one man wanted to move to Newton, so.
Newton, Kansas. Thelma, good luck, and thank you very much.
Very much, Denny. Thank you.
Pamela Kenny is from Denver, Colorado. I asked her what she was preparing.
I'm making a sweet salsa chicken, which is a 30-minute main dish. Little sweet, little spicy, all at the same time.
Isn't that kind of right in with what so many people want anymore, and that is not to spend a lot of time in the kitchen?
That's exactly where I was coming from. I'm a single parent with 2 young boys, and when I come home, I want dinner on the table. This one, from the time you hit the kitchen deck, it's 18 minutes, including prep time.
How did you find out about the Bake-Off? I mean, we all have known about it since childhood, growing up. It's such a common term, the Pillsbury Bake-Off. But how did you find out about it, contact, and finally get involved?
Well, I actually learned about it 26 years ago when I started competing competitively in other cook-offs at the tender age of 12.
I was going to say, you're not that old.
It loomed on the horizon. I was too intimidated to enter until just a few years ago, and finally decided it was time, and took it very seriously. It's just the ultimate validation that you're a good cook and a good mom.
By the way, you're very well spoken. No one would guess you went to law school.
Well, I consider myself a recovering attorney. I'd like to start a 12-step program to show people there is a life after the law.
What was the straw that broke the camel's back? The Simpson trial?
Actually, I'm proud to admit that it was, I'd made my decision prior to that. I left the law about 1.5 years ago, and at the time of the Simpson trial, was glad to say that I was not an attorney, or certainly not practicing.
What's the most exciting part of all of this to you?
The most exciting part is coming and performing on this floor amidst 99 of the most talented, inspired, creative cooks, and being able to basically work under pressure and still enjoy it. And
you have to put up with people like me walking.
To say the least. But it's the ultimate challenge to be able to dance and sing and all at the same time.
Pamela, thank you and good luck.
Thank you very much. Come back later for a sample.
Okay. I recognize this fellow. Roger, let me let you do what you're doing here. I guess a great deal of this is Roger Lee. Is it Little or Lytle Creek? How do you pronounce it?
Lytle Creek.
Lytle Creek, and that's your daughter over there. We just talked to. You're at position 76 here. Tell us what you're making and how important the visual aspect of the food has to be.
Well, if it doesn't look good, it ain't going to taste good.
Well, that's true.
You know.
This is double-crusted pecan pie Danish.
Right.
Boy, that's pretty. Yeah. How long does it take to make something like that?
This here takes about an hour. If you start from scratch and you're doing one of them, maybe, you know.
Yeah. Now, to get ready for this competition, how many of these would you have made at home?
About...
The neighbors getting tired of them?
Well, people at work. About 10 of them. About 10 of them.
Well, I can't wait till it sets up. How long is that going to take?
Well, this I have to bake again.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's a two-step process.
It's a two-step process on this pie.
Oh, I see, because the crust is already,
I have to bake
to some extent.
Yeah, I have a filling, and I put a crust over that. And I bake that, and then I take it out and bake it again.
Well, it does say double crust.
Double crust is like those pizza pies they got now, you know?
Absolutely. Maybe you invented that.
Well, we did it before they came out with that, so maybe they got the idea psychically or something.
Well, Roger, good luck, and thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
We're walking around one of the ballrooms of the Fairmont Hotel in Dallas, Texas. This is the, I've said earlier, annual Pillsbury Bake-Off. It is held every 2 years now. And I walked over to one of the positions here to eat what looks like, let's see what it is, Honey Walnut Delights. And there's a big sign that says, "Do not eat." And I suddenly realized that the person who was here, if everybody did that, they wouldn't have anything to show the judges. A huge number of people from Pillsbury headquarters came to Dallas to help oversee the festivities. Diane Slayton is the project director. She's been very busy the past 2 years putting the event together. I asked her when the concept first started.
Well, the Bake-Off contest began in 1949. And it's continued until the present day, where this is the 37th Bake-Off contest.
It's another thing that I'm older than it is.
Is that right?
Used to be annually, but every other year now?
We moved to every other year in the mid-'70s. It's a huge undertaking, and it takes us 18 months to prepare for this.
Without getting into specifics, I would think that this must be a tremendously important thing for Pillsbury, or to be blunt about it, you wouldn't spend this much money on it. I mean, this is a major investment to get everybody down here. This is a swanky hotel. The food's wonderful. The whole process must cost you a ton, but obviously it's worth it.
We definitely think it's worth it. I mean, it is the Super Bowl of cooking, and we have tens of thousands of cooks across the country developing creative ideas and recipes that then we can share with millions of our consumers.
What is it like dealing with all of these contestants? I don't think there's a dull person in that ballroom. I have never been around as many type A, funny, gregarious people.
This is a slice of America. These people really represent the population of the United States. They have so much fun when they come here. And as you mentioned, I mean, they are treated like kings and queens. We roll the red carpet out. We want to make sure that they have an absolutely fabulous time. But you're right, they have a lot of varied interest. Beyond beyond cooking, but cooking is one of their passions.
Let me get into one quick area, and that is the fact that I personally think that this is good because I have this fear that in another generation, nobody's going to know how to cook. It's all microwave, and I mean that in the bad sense. There's good and bad microwave. But I personally appreciate this because I grew up in that rural farm tradition where cooking was an essential element of what we all did, and it hurts me to see that a lot of people aren't involved in cooking.
Well, we do think that America is still using their kitchens, and they are looking for very creative solutions to their cooking challenges. And one of those challenges is, how do I get something pulled together with my hectic lifestyle? So one of the things that we've changed this year is we have recipes that are very convenient to meet those needs of the everyday pace of today's world.
Diane, let's look ahead to 2 years from now. A person listening to this heard about the Bake-Off. It's a long way off, the next one. But what could they be doing in the meantime, and how do people find out about this to enter?
Well, we will be promoting the contest in the summer of 97, and we will be telling people how to get an entry form. They'll be available in supermarket checkouts. We will make them available via our 800 number. And if they want to start thinking about the future, I mean, I think certainly they can see the kinds of recipes that'll be coming out of today's Bake-Off contest. Those recipes will be available to them in a cookbook on the 5th of March, available at their supermarket checkout. They can start looking at those recipes, and I think it will spur some ideas for the future.
And where are you going to be next time?
We will be in Orlando in 1998.
Not a bad place to go.
No.
Diane, thank you very much, and thanks for having us here.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Jewel Beekler is from Fountain Hills, Arizona, and I talked to her about her recipe. Jewel, you're making creamy hazelnut cake. Boy, this is pretty. How many of these have you made at home to practice?
Actually, I didn't make too many at all. I had this unique idea, put it together, and it was so tasty. I tried it out on my grandchildren, and they gobbled it up. So that was enough for me. My heart fluttered, and I said, I think I have a winner here.
Now that you're here, is it fair to ask what the secret is, or do I have to wait?
I don't know. I would like to wait.
Okay, let's wait and find out.
You know, until it's announced, or published. If you
Is this your first competition?
No, I was a finalist in 1962.
I know we have a lot of repeat people here.
And, but it was my ambition to return, and I tried for 30-some years. It took me 34 years to get back in the Bake-Off.
Wow.
And I couldn't understand why, because I thought my recipes were special.
Well, Jewel, thanks a lot and good luck.
Thank you.
Helen Klecka from Sun City West. I was just there a month or so ago. Del Webb flew me out there, and the Sean Patrick was one of the public relations people. He said, I just want you to go around and talk to people so that you won't think I've told them to say nice things. And everybody had wonderful things to say about it.
Oh, it's a wonderful place to live.
Helen, tell us about gingery Waldorf-style black bean salad. How did you come up with the recipe? Just a lot of tinkering?
No, actually, well, in a way, yes. But actually, it was started out as a chicken salad. And then I converted it to the black bean salad. I eliminated the chicken and added the black beans. And I used a bottled dressing, Kraft's Honey Dijon, non-fat. The other one had quite a bit of fat in it. And
isn't it amazing how, for example, in my grandmother's generation, everything was made with lard?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was very little. Of course, people consumed an enormous amount of calories. They were out working on the farm. They used it up. But the emphasis now, it's just incredible in the past 10 years how people's focuses have changed.
Right. This is a very low-fat, low-calorie, high-fiber dressing, and it's good for a vegetarian dish, but it also makes a very good side dish. And my husband likes it.
Helen, what would you say to a young person listening? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the fun of cooking. I have this fear that 15, 20 years from now, nobody's going to know how to cook.
Well, that's true, and I think once you start cooking, you start being creative also, and it makes it much more interesting.
And don't be afraid to fail a couple of times.
Oh, you have no idea how many things I've thrown out.
Phoebe Jackson is from Harleysville, Pennsylvania. You're making taco and black bean skillet dinner, and I would take by the name of it, one of the glorious things about this is it's all done in one pot and rather easily.
It's done in one pot very easily from start to finish, about 35 minutes till it's on the table. In the pan you cook it in.
Did you fix a lot of this when you were snowed in like the rest of us on the East Coast?
I tried it once or twice.
Phoebe, let me ask you, how many times have you made this? When you get into a bake-off, you want it's got to look right, smell right, taste right. Do you have to do a lot of experimentation at home?
We made it a lot when we were trying to do the recipe itself, try different ways of making it, and then once it was done, we made it. Our neighbors actually made it.
What is this very aromatic little plant you're working with?
This is cilantro.
Ah.
It's used a lot in Mexican cooking. When it goes to seed, it's coriander.
Oh, now I know. Phoebe, thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Terry Moore is contestant number 98 from Oakland, New Jersey. You're making raspberry, or raspberry, if you will, truffle tarts. You're spending, as you should, a lot of time making it look right. How important in the contest is the visual presentation?
Well, I haven't been to the Pillsbury Bake-Off before, but most contests, it's usually important to make sure that your food looks as good as it tastes. That's the first thing the judges notice about it, how it looks when they get it. So.
Well, I mentioned earlier there are all these signs around, do not eat, because all of this would be gone before the judges could see it if they didn't have the signs up. What did it feel like when you got the call or the letter or however you were contacted saying, come on down?
Well, I was a little in shock first because my husband got the call. He was home and I was on vacation with my sister. And when he got caught up with me finally, I had accidentally left the wrong number where I was.
Oh.
He was like, I have to talk to Terry right away, to my sister. And
probably thought something bad had happened. Yeah.
I thought somebody was dead in the hospital or some horrible thing. So it was a shock, but a pleasant one to find out that my recipe had qualified.
Well, Terry, thanks a lot and good luck.
Well, nice talking to you. Thanks for stopping.
Florence Neval is from Salem, Oregon. You're making Viennese chocolate dream pastry. I love the name.
Good. It sounds good, doesn't it?
Have you ever been around as many friendly, outgoing people in your life?
I never have. I'm just so impressed by the friendliness and the helpfulness of not only the Pillsbury staff, but also the other contestants and all the media and all of our sponsors, and everyone has just been great.
Well, they've spared no expense. I mean, they've been carting us around. This is a lovely hotel. There was too much to eat last night, too much to eat today, and I haven't even sampled many of the goodies yet. What did it feel like for you? Did you get a phone call or a letter? How were you informed that you were selected?
Yes, I received a phone call in mid-December. I am retired, and I was at home when the call came in. And so I just couldn't hardly believe it. I had to pinch myself. I thought someone was maybe playing a trick on me. And my sister also entered this year, and so she received a phone call from work, and they didn't tell her that I had been selected also as a finalist. So when we compared notes, we couldn't hardly believe it.
Florence, I wish you good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for talking to me.
Let's move on. This is contestant 69. Carol Hurd is from Madison, Wisconsin, and you're making chocolate, apricot, orange, truffle tarts. Boy, a lot of different ingredients. Explain what you're going to do right now. I'm going to blend a few things together, it looks like.
I've blended the whipping cream and egg with the 12 ounces of bittersweet chocolate and 2 tablespoons of triple sec orange liqueur. And now I'm adding a mixture of chopped apricots and orange juice.
Oh.
And
is this a recipe you've had for a while? Is it something you came up with recently?
No, I came up with it early last summer.
Isn't most of the fun for a good cook with a decent kitchen the experimentation, modifying existing recipes? I mean, I've never had a really good kitchen to do anything in, but eventually I want one because I just want to play around.
Yes. my husband's question when I told him I was a finalist is, do I like it? He's never sure what he's eating, if it's a new recipe or just what it is.
I just realized you sound like Nancy Reagan.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, you have a very similar voice.
I've been told that I look like Nancy Reagan.
Well, you've got both of them. Carol Hurd, thanks a lot and good luck.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Kimberly Cordes is from the Cleveland area. Are you tired of we media people asking you what it's like to be the youngest contestant?
I'm getting a lot of it, but no, I understand. I'm not tired of it.
What would you say, and you're how old?
I'm 19.
What would you say to young people? There's so little, I hate to editorialize here, but there's so little what we used to call home ec anymore. I'm just afraid people are growing up who won't know how to do anything other than push the start button on a microwave.
That's true, especially, I know that's true because I'm in college right now. I guess what I would tell them is that the money is a nice incentive, and I'm an amateur cook, and so are a lot of other people here. And I think if you try to create original recipe, you'd be surprised that you could win. I think if a lot more people gave it a shot, they'd be surprised at the results.
Well, I was talking to a lady just a minute ago, and we were talking about the fact that half the fun is the experimentation.
Yes, it is, because I entered about 6 of them myself. So, I mean, you just look through your old magazines. You know, changed other recipes around a little bit. So.
What'd you feel like when you got the phone call saying, come on over?
Oh, geez, I was really excited. I was down at school, so all my friends were jumping around for me, so it was fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, this looks really pretty. A lot of ingredients, fairly simple?
It's very simple, actually. The biscuits, applesauce, raisins, walnuts, syrup, and Cool Whip. It's really easy to make.
But in the right proportion.
Yes.
Well, Kimberly, good luck, and we'll talk to you maybe later.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. But only one would win the $1 million prize, and this year it was Kurt Waite, a self-taught cook, a single father of 1 from California. He competed against 99 other finalists. They said they liked the dessert he made because of the ease of preparation. It was a macadamia fudge torte, and for that, he won $1 million. There were some $10,000 winners, including one woman we had talked to before the judging was completed, Fran Nevall of Salem, Oregon. Remember her? I talked to her sister.
We lived together.
So what did you think the odds were of you both being selected?
I didn't think both of us would get it in the same year. Yeah, I mean, that just blew our mind when we found out that each other had been selected. And we didn't know when they called Florence first, and I didn't know that she had been selected. And when they called me, they didn't tell me that Florence had been selected. So
well, the computer didn't tell them.
Apparently.
Now you're fixing what?
I am fixing orange glazed tropical fruit scones, and it's a scone made rather than with cream. It has milk in it, and I have added vanilla chocolate chips or vanilla chips. It's not chocolate.
How would you define a scone?
Well, it's from the biscuit category, and personally, I never liked scones before. And
I was going to say, the ones I've always had have been dry.
Dry and not real flavorful. So I put something in it that's going to be good. I'd like for you to try it and see if you agree. But it's very flavorful with the tropical fruit added and the white vanilla chips. And then I slice it and I put in an apricot pineapple preserves.
Apricots are big this year.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they're very flavorful. Yeah. I use them a lot in my baking.
Well, Fran, thanks a lot and good luck.
Thank you very much.
One of the great things was meeting people from all over the country, listening to the different accents. Here's Carla Kunoff from Bloomington, Indiana, but you can tell she's not a native Hoosier.
Crescent dinner rolls, a stick of butter, 2 cups of slivered almonds, and 1 1/4 cup of sugar. That's all.
Now, you, by your accent, I don't think you're from Texas originally.
No, I'm not. I'm from Germany, and I came 1962 to the United States, and I have changed the German recipe, which takes hours to prepare, to a modern version, which I can make now in 20 minutes.
Isn't that kind of the secret anymore? Everybody is in such a darn hurry.
Right. I started changing my original recipes when I started working. I worked full-time at Indiana University, and I needed still to keep up the tradition of having home-baked things, and that's why I started doing these shortcuts.
Is there a lot of good pastry in Germany? I just when I think of that and I heard your accent, I thought you're really from pastry country.
That's right. I believe so, because the pastry shops are everywhere, and that's the fun part when you go to Germany. You get all the good breads and pastry.
What a fun time, and again, it was a place I ate too much. You know, I should have told them about my Harry Reasoner chili. It only has 3 ingredients, and one of the ingredients is not chili powder. I'm Dennis Daly.